Taking a look at the opportunity ahead of the Texans after the bye. Are things actually laid out perfect? Let's talk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the
Locker
street.
Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste.
Bye week vibes are upon us. Our better days ahead for the Texans. Is the layout perfect? That is the question. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. Hope you're all enjoying the bye week. Little breather for the Texans as they head into it at 2-3. Big news today, CJ Stroud. He is the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Third time he's won that in his career. First time since that rookie season. So CJ Stroud probably couldn't have ended it better. I know it was a bad team, but the award is the award. Not sure if it matters that much, but it is good to see CJ have something that he can feel good about. I want to shout out the greatness that is Sleeper. If you don't play Sleeper, what the hell are you waiting for? Right now, you can get a $20 free entry. $20 free entry, no deposit required. You can play higher, lower, the best DFS product in the game. Also, you can still take advantage of the 100% match up to $100 by using that promo code Locker. I will be playing a lot of higher lower this week, even in Vegas. Even in Vegas, it's still as good as it gets. So download the Sleeper app, get that free $20, and then get that take advantage of that other deal as well. And even if you don't want to play, it is by far the best scoring app in the game. Shout out to Sleeper for doing what they do and loving sports the way they do. So I want to focus on this one, this bye week edition. I want to focus on two things. Number one, I want to focus on the question that will decide the Texans' fate in 2025. And then I want to lay out the opportunity ahead as they creep into the second quarter of the season. And Nick Caserio subscribes to the quarter theory. I subscribe to the quarter theory. It's not as literal as it once was with the 17-game season. But when we talk about quarters, and I think most of you probably know this, but quarters are, you divide your season into fours. It was very easy back when there were 16 games because it was week 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and then 13 through 16. It was easy. But now you have the extra game, you have the 17 games. So one of your quarters will be a little bit longer. And with where the bye week is, Nick Caserio looks at it as there's 3 quarters remaining, and you've already performed one quarter. Didn't go awesome. Perhaps could have gone worse, but you're 2-3 through the first quarter, and the second quarter is very interestingly laid out, which we'll get to in a sec. But first, the one thing that will decide the Texans' fate, and I think you can look back at the first 5 weeks of the season and kind of see where this is going. Can they beat good teams? Can the Texans beat good teams? That is the number one question that will decide their fate. They haven't been able to yet. Now we can look at specific games and we can say, well, they had an opportunity. If Dare Ogunbowale didn't fumble against the Rams, if Nico Collins didn't fumble against the Jags, if Henry To'oTo'o can make a tackle against the Bucs, you can say that. But the reality is they've beat 2 bad teams and they haven't beaten any good teams. And they got a lot of good teams remaining on the schedule, and that's what's going to decide their fate. Can the Texans, are they good enough to be able to beat the really, really good teams, or even decent teams? Because they really haven't beaten a decent team yet. That version of Baltimore was not good. But that is the one question that's going to decide things. Can they beat good teams? We will see, and we will not have to wait too long to see. And let's look at that second quarter that we previously mentioned. And this is really interesting when you look at this. So the second quarter of the season, you're going to have Seattle. It's going to be a Monday nighter. It's going to be at 9:00, which not ideal. It's on the West Coast, but I mean, my God, you got 15 days off. It's 15 days away from your previous game for the Texans. In your previous game, to be honest, you had starters on the sidelines for a large chunk of that second half. So as much of a pain in the ass as it is for many, I personally like the vibe. I'm not on the field though. But as much as it sucks to have a 9:00 game on a Monday night, it's coming off the bye. So you'll have extra time to rest. You're going to be very, very rested up. Seattle this week, they got the Jags, who you'll play in the fourth game of this quarter. So it's kind of decently laid out for you. And I think if they win this game, then I think that you can just completely reassess, or you can maybe revisit your optimism at the start of the season. Because if you're 3-3 and then you're heading into the next 3 games, you're set up pretty nicely. Now, some people will look at this graphic and they'll say, well, those are some pretty damn good teams that they're going to be facing from October 26th to November 9th. And you're right, they're pretty good teams. But here's where the other advantage kind of lays out for the Texans. Those 3 games are going to be home games, and they're all going to be noon games. So one of the most important things that coaches can have is routine. You ask any coach in the league, yeah, they like the primetime games for the players. But as far as just being able to get in a routine, and football is the biggest game of routine that there is. It's the most precise game of routine. That's why a lot of times on Thursday night, you'll see crappy teams upset really, really good teams if they have to travel. A lot of times if they have to travel, that happens. Because these guys are routine. And if you can get those a stretch of noon games or a stretch of 3:25 games, then you're in pretty decent shape. San Francisco, that noon game is going to be a pretty much 10 a.m. game for San Francisco, who's not very good right now. It's going to be a 10 a.m. game. It's going to be a normal game for the Texans. Denver, they don't always play at noon, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But you get them right there in your routine. And then Jacksonville, you got to win that one. Of all these games in this quarter, you got to win the Jacksonville game. You can't go 0-2 against the Jags. You can't do that. You can lose games, but you can't go 0-2 against the team that you're chasing. You can't do that. Especially when you factor in that Indianapolis is up there too. So you got to win that. Other thing to like about this, the quarterbacks that you're facing in this second quarter. You have Sam Darnold, who DeMeco Ryans, they got lit up by last year. Maybe he owes him one. Going to have a fully rested defense. You got Brock Purdy or Mac Jones. DeMeco knows Purdy very, very well. Bo Nix, we haven't seen them face each other. And then you got Trevor Lawrence, who they know well, who really, he damn near gave them the game the first time they met. And they've had a decent amount of success with him. So it's actually very nicely laid out with what the Texans got going heading into this quarter. The 3 home games, the 3 nooners, those are nice. Go to the chat here on the locker room. But first,
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
let's talk about the greatness that is TDECU, the proud sponsor of Reaction Monday with Landry Locker and Cody Stoots on SNL. TDECU, the official credit union of the Houston Texans. Right now, you can score 15% off Texans gear with the TDECU Texans debit card. It's beautiful. It's got the new logo. CJ Stroud has the commercials with it. Me and Cody, proud partners. They also got the Coug Stadium, and it's an honor to be able to spread the word of such a great product, great service. And this is not all they do, but for the people in this space, everybody likes a nice, fresh, clean debit card. Most people need a debit card, and you can get 15% off the gear on the Texans online shop. All you got to do is visit tdcu.org/Texans. Get your card today. Membership required, insured by NCUA. Shout out to TDECU. On the chat, interesting question from Marcus, and I can answer this. So you asked, how much do coaches change practice times when they know a 9 p.m. game awaits? So they don't change practice times because they don't practice on game day. But here's what happens. So typically after like a normal game, you'll have media availability with just the coach and the open locker room on Monday. Tuesdays is an off day. So they get Tuesdays as an off day, and then they practice Wednesday through Friday. So Tuesday's the off day. Monday is pretty much a go in, watch film, light day, rehab, all that type of stuff for the guys. And then they practice Wednesday through Friday, and that's the schedule. So what they're going to do with the Monday nighter is follow me. Just follow me. They're going to take Monday off. So Monday is going to be an off day. And then D'Amico is going to speak Tuesday. And then they're going to practice on Saturday. So they just push it back a day. They're not going to practice Sunday because that's going to be a travel day, but they're going to practice Saturday instead. So they just push it. They're going to push it back. They're going to push it back a week. Wednesday will be the off day. So that's pretty much what they're going to do. And it's kind of like an approach of, there are rules, but it's kind of like an approach to get kind of in that routine. Instead of you practice on Friday and then you just sit around Saturday and Sunday. So that's what they're doing. They're pushing it back a day, and that's where we'll be at when that goes down. So it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. Owners do love the primetime games. Players do too. I think a lot of players do too. Coaches, they love the routine. I think there's a limit to the primetime games. I will say that. I saw a lot of worn out mofos in that locker room last year. I mean, when you go from a Thursday night to a Sunday night to a Monday night and all that kind of wears on players. But yeah, I'm sure that it does wear out a little bit on them. But yeah, players probably like it. Players probably like it a little bit. Someone's asking me about trade. I don't really have an opinion on a Newsom trade, to be honest with you. I don't have like a strong opinion on that. I don't. Yeah, not really. So the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a cool opportunity for Texans fans. This is another thing that I've noticed about this week. So you get an opportunity to look at an opponent you've already faced, opponent you're going to face in the next month-ish, and the opponent that you're going to face on Monday night. The nooner for the Texans of localized interest this week. Seattle's going to Jacksonville. 3-2 Seattle is going to Jacksonville. Now, Seattle is actually a favorite on the road. So that tells you what, like, maybe the difference in opponent of Seattle and Jacksonville is. Seattle's going to Jacksonville, who just beat Kansas City, and they're a 1.5 point favorite. Jacksonville could easily be undefeated. I mean, they choked it away against the Bengals with Browning, who's about to get benched for the ghost of Joe Flacco. So, but you're going to get to see both of those teams. So that's actually a nice nooner to get to watch. A lot of local interest in that one. So you can peep that at noon. That'll be a good one to keep an eye on. I look forward to seeing that. On the chat, Robert asks, and this is going back to D'Amico's narrative. He asks, do you start buying the "we are close" narrative a bit more if we beat Seattle? No, I don't. No, I mean, I don't. Not really. I mean, because a lot of NFL games are close. Most of them are, and D'Amico knows that, and that's why he said, he was just stating the obvious on it when I asked him about it. But no, I don't think it's like a narrative. And that it's not like they said that we're close to being a lead or anything like that. But yeah, if you finally win a game, it'll be great. That's awesome. I do buy into the Texans as a football team if they go on the road and beat Seattle. I don't think that's a game that you minimize. Now, would it be up there with 2023 when they kind of flipped their season around by winning on the road at Cincinnati? I think it could be similar. That was really when that team kind of established themselves, and you said, okay, they might be for real. If they beat Seattle and they go to 3-3, and your next 3 games are at home at noon, and the game after that is against the Titans, we've talked about the 5-5 after week 11. Like, maybe you get a little bit greedy, and you start thinking like 6-4 after 10 weeks. So. No, I mean, the close narrative was just common sense. That was what D'Amico was saying. I don't think it was like something to really buy into or not. It was just common sense. It was kind of pointless that they even were bringing it up. But I am on the record saying against Baltimore, I said there's no excuse to lose it. There's plenty of excuses to lose to Seattle, but if you win it, then you start looking at this team different, or you start looking at it the same. I had them as a 10-win team. I mean, if you go 3-3, chances are 10. And the other thing is, in this crazy ass AFC, you have only 7 teams with winning records, which we've said a few times. So this might be a 9-8 instead of a 10-7. But if they beat the Seahawks, then I think all bets are off. Marcus says, I think we can beat the Seahawks. I think they can beat the Seahawks too. They could have beaten everyone they played. Like, if you want to go back to the close thing, like they could have beaten it. Like, we've gone through it. They also could have lost more by more. Like, I'm sure those other teams, like the Rams, kind of took their foot off the gas for a little bit. It almost bit them in the ass, but they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. Tampa Bay, Alex says something interesting. I'm trying to figure this out. I guess you're talking about British Brooks. You said he had a shaky carry on the fullback dive. He might be a fumbler. Still use him. Just be careful. Please don't turn him into Dare 2.0. I mean, what do you have? 2 carries for 15 yards and move the chains twice? That's pretty good to me. I don't know. What do you mean by shaky? How he kind of tripped? He's a bulldog. But he's a special teams guy who crushes skulls, and he can block. And that was just a new element. I don't know what you meant by shaky. Like, you thought it was. I thought he was solid. 2 for 15. I don't know if he's a fumbler. He's not someone that's going to get the ball a lot. That's for sure. As far as the Colts go, the Colts are probably a 10-win team. Probably a 10-win squad. British Brooks is the starting fullback. Like, that's a given. That's a given. That probably should have been the case to begin with. That dude's a badass. He's definitely the starting fullback. There's no oh, you are saying that he could have fumbled? Yeah, I don't know. I just saw he move the chains twice. Stanley says the next game will tell us everything we need to know. Was the good performance a one and done, or is everything clicking? Look, there's no excuse to come out flat against Seattle. They have all the confidence. Texans do right now. Now, Seattle's actually good. I am somewhat concerned about Jackson Smith and Jigba. Not necessarily when he's lined up with Stingley or Lassiter, although I think he can probably do his thing against most. But I do wonder if Seattle's going to be able to find Petrie in coverage. And I know Petrie's doing his thing. I know D'Amico's his biggest fan. He's doing fine, but just like you didn't want him guarding Puka in week 1, you damn sure don't want him lined up on Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like that, that might be something that I don't know if someone follows him around. If D'Amico thinks that highly of him, there have been times where he's let Stingley follow someone around. But I would probably not let Jalen Petrie line up on Jackson Smith and Jigba in the slot. I think that would be a massive, 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 massive mistake. And I know I've been a JSN guy for a long time. I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the league. But if you're going to let Jalen Petrie guard him in the slot, then much like the Rams kind of seeked him out, you got to look out for that. I mean, the first few games were kind of rough coverage-wise for Petrie. It's easy to blame CJ Gardner-Johnson, but the reality is if JSN gets in that slot and number 5 is across from him, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem. Dextra Maddox asks, do you think the Texans can still win the division? Yeah. I mean, it's, you got 12 games left. You got 2 against the Colts. You got another one against the Jags. Both of those teams' schedules are going to get tougher. Texans' schedule is going to get tougher too. These are tough teams, but the layout matters as much as the teams. Again, just pull it up. You got 15 days rest before you take on Seattle, and then you're at home. San Francisco's beat the hell up. Denver's good. Never seen Bo Nix. We don't know what that looks like, so that'll be interesting. And then you got the Jags at home. You got to split. So, I mean, if you go 3-1 in that stretch, even 2-2. I mean, even 2-2, you're set up for the potential 5-5. I mean, you got to look at it like 10 wins win the division, 11. If you get to 500, the Jags lose a game, you're a game within them. Like if the Jags lose to Seattle and then you somehow take care of business against Seattle, then you're one game back. You can't lose to them twice. So you lose to them twice, that changes a lot. It changes a hell of a lot when it comes to the division and when it comes to wild card, because they'll have the tiebreaker. So you can't do that. That's the must-win game. I don't know if like the very, very serious, literal must-win people would call that a must-win, but that's about as much of a must-win as you can have. It's about as much of a must-win as you can have. When do I think Woody Marks will take over as RB1 asking for fancy? Yeah, there's a lot of people pissed off at Woody Marks last week. I don't think Woody Marks is like a workhorse. Like I think Woody Marks is a nice complimentary guy. Like from a fantasy perspective, for me, for Woody Marks, like my dream scenario is it's about a 50-50 share with Nick Chubb. And he's catching 5 balls a game and being used in the pass game. That's my like dream scenario. But as far as Like, do I see Woody Marks being a guy that give the rock to 15, 20 times a game? I don't. I think he's a good complimentary back. I wish he had a better compliment than Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's okay, but I wish he had like a guy who was a true RB1. Nick Chubb, what used to be, but he's really not that anymore. And then I wish you had Chubb. But for Woody Marks, like, is Woody Marks the performance that he had before everyone picked him up in fantasy? I don't know that we're going to see another one of those this year. I think he's good. I think he's going to make plays, but this is kind of like, I don't, it's kind of like a committee. It's kind of tough. So I don't know that we see that unless there's some sort of injury or anything like that, but I don't necessarily think that happens. Outlaw, I brought this up today on SNL. The last time Texans were in Seattle, it was a good game. Deshaun Watson played his ass off. It was before he tore his ACL. Dwayne Brown's last game as a Texan. Texans actually took the lead. And then you had Jimmy Graham basically just walk into the end zone, complete brain fart on defense, and Texans ended up losing. Watson heroics, really kind of identical to what happened against the Patriots that year. But yeah, it was a good game, and that was a long time ago. And that's where they're going. But that was a hell of a game. Last game the LOB played, as Cody Stoots noted. That'll be interesting. That'll be real interesting. Shout out to Texans Turf. They did my lawn. They should do your lawn. If you've thought about getting in the turf game, don't think no more. I did the shopping for you. A lot of times you get discouraged because you talk to a couple of these companies and they rip you off. They give you a minimum. It looks sloppy. They don't give you options. They're not handling the drainage to where your backyard is drained. And they don't really care. That's not the case with Texans Turf. I like Dan. I consider Dan a friend of mine. He just got back from Spain. And I trusted Dan with my yard. If you've thought about doing it, I can promise you this is the place to go. Shout out to Dan and his team at Texans Turf. Whether you want putting green, play area, just a little customized for the yard, it makes your home look better. My neighbor, God, she never mows the yard. I look over there when I'm walking, sometimes barefoot through my turf, and I'm just disgusted. Almost feel like I should go knock on the door and tell her, hey, you need to get some Texans Turf. She probably should. I actually might do that. Might not be a bad idea. And I know she would thank me for doing so. Shout out to Texans Turf and everything that they do. 21 Savage. Shout out to 21. 21, you going to Spanky's again? I know 21 was out there at Spanky's last time. We'll be out there the 17th, 2 days before Seattle. So we hope to see you out there at Spanky's, Sharpstown. He says the Jags losing to the Seahawks and us beating the Seahawks would be amazing. It would be ideal. It'd be perfect. It would change the way you look at things. I don't know what 3-3 even looks like. Like you look at these teams above the Texans, 3-3. Like, are you in the inside? Like, are you in the inside of the playoff picture at 3-3? I don't think you need to look at the division. This is also something that's happened. Yep. 21 Savage will be there. Y'all should be too. But here's the thing that I think Texans observers, media types, fans are kind of trained to do. And this is why it kind of feels lost. You're used to just they win the division to get in the playoffs. The Texans in their entire history have never gotten into the playoffs without winning the division. Every time that they've gotten in, it's because they've won the division. Well, here's the thing. The division traditionally is usually ass. It's usually ass. Typically, there's one good team, and then there's three teams that are just complete ass. That's typically what historically for the large portion of the Texans' history as an NFL team, that's been the case. So they've never, and quite frankly, the Texans have been mediocre too. They've been a mediocre football team. They haven't been one of those teams that gets hot and can get in as a wild card. But that's a little bit different this year. Like, the division's not awful. There's one team that's probably awful. It's the Titans. They just won a game. They might win another one this weekend against the Raiders. But you're not used to that. So when you look up and you see, 2 games behind right now, you sit there and you think, oh, well, that's a hell of a lot of ground to cover to win the division, which it is. It's not like crazy with 12 games to make up 2, especially when you face both of those teams that you're chasing. One of them, you're looking for the split. The other one, you got twice down the stretch. But your brain has been trained to only look at the division, winning the division. This year, I mean, right now, the final 2 playoff spots, the teams are 3-2. The teams are 3-2. Now, I will say this: Kansas City's right there. You're both 2-3, and Cincinnati's 2-3, and they're in a rough spot. But after that, you look at the bottom. That's the top 10. The top 10 is Indy and Buffalo. They're both 4-1. Pittsburgh's 3-1. Chargers are 3-2. Broncos are 3-2. Jags are 4-1, and Patriots are 3-2. And then the 2 and 3 teams are Cincinnati, Houston, and Kansas City. Listen to these teams after that. These are all the 1-win teams. The Raiders, the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Browns. They all suck. Titans suck. Jets suck even more than anyone that we just mentioned. So it's not like you're competing with a small group. It's probably 10 teams, 7 make it. Cincinnati doesn't have Joe Burrow right now. And then is it going to keep up with New England? And then you play all these other teams. But you should be looking at the wild card right now. It might be in their better interest. Texans having to play games and actually having to win them with a little bit of pressure. That's what it is. But it goes back to what we talked about at the start of this. Can they actually beat good teams? That's what's going to decide it. And we'll keep a close eye on it. And it'll be fun. Tomorrow on SNL, we'll be live at 4. We'll also record an episode. We're going to go through each position series. Each position, we're going to give progress reports, aka grades, to each position. That's going to be the Friday episode, which we're going to record. It's going to drop at the typical time of 4. I got a Casario video dropping at 4, and then tomorrow I'm not going to be live at 10:30. I might go live earlier. I'm probably going to go live at 7 or 8, or maybe even earlier than that, because I got to get on a plane. This time tomorrow, I'll be in Las Vegas. That's my bye-week vibes. I will be in Las Vegas. I will be watching Texas OU. I've been to Texas OU 20-plus times. This time, I'm going to get to enjoy it with the wifey in Las Vegas. That vibe. Probably about 6:30 Vegas time. I'll be drinking a beer, watching the Jets-Broncos game, peeping that scene. And then Monday, it's an off day. Take advantage of that off day. And then they'll resume practice on Tuesday, and we'll be at Spanky's on Friday. Hopefully, most of you will be there. We hope to see you there, and it's going to be fun. But the content, it keeps going during the bye week. There's a lot of people that kind of take a break. We do not. We never do. By we, I mean Cody and me. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. Don't forget about taking advantage of that sleeper deal. $20 free entry. Still get the 100% match up to $100. Use that promo code LOCKER. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. That's the layout, the land of opportunity for the Texans in the second quarter. Do you think they can take advantage? That is TBD. Until then, always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for rolling through.
We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source.